Hey everybody, we are live. Right now I'm gonna start talking right away because every time I've come on the lives, I kind of hang out. And when they edit it, it literally has me staring away into the screen. Ooh, there's my friends. Create many shenanigans here at Human Garage with all of our business relationships, our partners, all of the people that we love to collaborate with, that we love to get down with and create amazing things with. And I'm sitting here in Cartagena, Colombia, broadcasting. My guests already, I brought them in so they would not get lost in the shuffle of messages. So guys, just hold on one second. I'm still kind of giving a little bit of an intro. And I have to do some homework first too, to deliver everything. So anyway, we come every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time to connect with and go deeper with our VIP clients, celebrities, our friends who build amazing products. Because it's one thing to pimp out a product or say, hey, you got to come and get this. And it's a complete another to understand the people behind it, to see why they created this, what they thought, what led them on this journey, and why we chose to collaborate with them. To us, it's important to build this kind of relationship and show all of you the beauty of these things. And before we dive in with our friends today, if you, LA is on fire right now, but we do have, I have to let you know, we do have an event coming up on the 18th. Go to our website. It's a hands-on event. So if you want to dive deeper into fashion maneuvers, understand who, what, where, when, and why, and doing it with a partner and going deeper into that process, then go onto our website and check it out. Also, if you haven't already done so, please join our community. Why aren't you in our community? Huh? Why aren't you guys in our community? It's an awesome place to hang out because, hey, you can be uncensored and unfiltered, even though Mark Zuckerberg just came out and said that you can talk much more freely on Instagram and Facebook. I don't know. I don't know. We'll, we'll see if it happens. But in the meantime, go over to our app, which you can find on the Human Garage website as well, because there's an amazing community of over 60,000 people. You can dive deeper into fashion maneuvers. You can connect with people all over the world, have deeper conversations, go deeper into your practices, and develop. And if you like, you can follow me on my personal accounts or chat with me here at Human Garage, Aaron Matthias The Purpose, and pulseoflife.co. Without further ado, though, our next guests have taken, I was thinking of a play on the name of survival, because you guys are thriving. You are actually thriving and creating that. And the product that you've created and the products that you do create help people actually stop just surviving and actually start thriving.
We called it Thrival.
Well, it came from the need to survive. It was essentially founded on, wanting to get the survival nutrients within us. And then it took it to that next level of thriving and optimizing one's health on our journey. And so it was, yeah, a little bit of both.
So just so everyone knows, who the heck are you guys? Who the heck are you?
We are Survival Moss. So Amanie and I started this venture during, some unfortunate times, and we effectively, for our own sake, scoured the planet looking for different food sources and things that were very dense with nutrition, both minerals and vitamins and things like that, but from a food source, so a bioavailable food source. We eventually landed on sea moss. That was the one that when we incorporated it into our lifestyle, it stuck with us. And we began to share it. We began to spread the word, and it grew from just something that we were kind of passionate about into thriving business. And so, yeah, that's who we are. That's our beginnings, at least.
Yeah. Otherwise, I was a French immersion teacher, teaching in the school district. I
Okay.
had fallen very ill and wanted to heal in a natural way. And so we started searching these superfoods, and we found sea moss, and I would get it in the sun-dried form that I would consume in gel. So I would convert this into gel, and I would take it for my own healing. And as Daniel said, we just started sharing it with people around us, and my success with how I was feeling after my whole health scare. And so since then, it's just been, yeah, word of mouth and sharing with people our experience on these superfoods that have impacted us.
Okay. Now, before you had your health scare. Now I know the story, but I'm acting like I have no idea because I want everyone else to learn as much as possible. But before you went down this direction, what was both of your lifestyles like before this? Were you guys into like healthy living? Were you guys like maybe the standard American or diet lifestyle? Like what was it like before this happened?
Not terrible, to be honest. We had a reasonably decent lifestyle. Balanced, I would say. We didn't eat like, we didn't exactly watch what we ate maybe as closely as we do today, but you know, normal amount of regular exercise, walking, that kind of stuff. Decent food consumption, but pretty
We followed
average.
a Mediterranean diet. We ate fairly well, but I think where my awareness and consciousness has completely grown since then is just being intuitive with my body. And I was numb, I guess. I wasn't listening to signs when I was going through my health scare. I wasn't as in tune with what my emotions were manifesting within my body. And once I had experienced that scare, I just became super sensitive to all of these changes and really paying attention to them. And that has given me more power in the control aspect and just being able to navigate through my personal health based on intuition and what feels right, and then little notices that I feel over the course of the time. So
We had we had we had a young. I think at the time Noah was 2 years old. So we were
fresh parents,
yeah.
I would say I was teaching, I had a young toddler, I was living a high stress life, adjusting and transitioning to it. And so that was a big wake up call that my body needed that support. And then things kind of became more clear on which path we wanted to take.
Are you open to sharing what like the health journey you went through was to everyone?
Oh, so my diagnosis, I was diagnosed with transverse myelitis. So I had extreme chronic inflammation in my spinal cord, lesions in my brain. I had experienced numbness and paralysis, basically torso down. And that was my episode, my initial episode. I'm very able-bodied, I'm walking, and then within a day, I could not get myself out of bed. Um, yeah, and so was rushed to the hospital, got many tests, lumbar punctures. It was my first experience in the in that hospital environment. And so maybe I was not advocating for myself in a way that I would today. And so I just kind of surrendered and was hoping that someone would be able to give me answers. And as we lacked these answers, our search for more answers became more strong. And Daniel was always really good at, helping find solutions to these problems, these concerns that we were experiencing.
Yeah. So, just to back up a little, eventually, that initial visit to the hospital led to a diagnosis. So she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Typically, the onset of multiple sclerosis is as she described, right? Usually there's an inflammatory situation, transverse myelitis, things of that nature. Again, numbness, tingling, that kind of thing. So the onset was hot and heavy. It just came out of nowhere. And then we were plunged into the medical system and again, like she said, a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. Both of us kind of have this intuitive need to know more, to understand. So we asked a lot of questions. We weren't passive guests at that hospital. We were very active and inquisitive, and it didn't answer. It didn't help because the more questions we asked, the less we understood. Plus, we started to realize nobody really understood. It was just kind of like fly by the seat of your pants situation. So we realized pretty quickly that we weren't going to get the answers we needed from the medical system. It just wasn't going to happen. And so we had to take action and take matters into our own hands. And that was the beginning of the journey. That was like the realization that you have to be your own health advocate because nobody else is going to advocate for you. Not in all cases, but in this case especially, and in many cases when it comes to health, you really do have to be your own health advocate. And so that's kind of where the journey started. And
So their basically prognosis was like, hey, you've got this. Good luck.
Yeah, there was a bunch of medication that was, recommended that had success rates for other illnesses or diseases that for me it was a very scary it was a scary at the time, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go that path. I was on medication while I was in the hospital. It made me feel very ill. It made me have, strange symptoms that I really needed to detox from. And so it was from that point when I wanted to start over fresh. I thought I really want to try and source things naturally and heal my body.
MS is not a well understood thing, and so there were no answers coming out of the medical system. The solutions provided were very limited. It was effectively medication based treatments that didn't really have very high efficacy rates. The efficacy rates, in fact, were slightly above 50. And so that was kind of our first, like, okay, if there isn't a definitive solution, a path forward to this, let's start digging. And dig we did. So, yeah.
And where are you at right now currently?
We're in Canada.
No, I mean, like,
where in my health journey. Well,
Canada.
like right now,
we gotta hang up. If you're from Canada, we gotta hang up the call right now.
We're gonna be the 51st state soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, maybe, possibly, right? Because you're the prime minister disappeared, resigned.
That's right.
Right now, I would say I'm feeling really well. I feel like I'm thriving. I have gotten some checkups on MRIs, and I have no lesions, no active lesions. The ones that I had are little scars that are disappearing, and so I'm considered my doctor's miracle patient, which is so.
She's being humble because typically MS is characterized by these ongoing episodes that reoccur every 6 to 12 months. And that's kind of the normal progression. That's what you're told from neurologists to expect every 6 to 12 months to have kind of a major episode. And she hasn't had an episode since the initial major episode, which was, are we 5 or 6 years? I lost track.
Since 2019, I would say I haven't had any episodes, and I've been in remission. And so,
which is well above the standard curve for anybody that's been diagnosed with MS.
Yeah. And did you follow in your investigations? Is that where you started to develop a bit of a protocol for yourself to use and start to enhance your health?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you mind sharing like what some things you did and tried, and then kind of like what eventually led to the discovery of CMOS? Because then I have questions around that. So
yeah, it didn't start at supplementation. To be honest, when we first started looking at it, because we didn't have any answers, we were like, okay, this is going to require an overhaul. Let's look at everything. And so the initial part of what we did involved elimination. We wanted to reduce exposure to the environment, the toxins in our environment. And so that began with water, right? Making sure that the water we were drinking was filtered using high quality filters. And then we started looking at reducing exposure to anything that we come in contact with. So not just food, not just what we intake, but anything that we put on our skin. you will absorb quite a bit through your skin in terms of toxins. And so
Yes.
we're looking to take a deep dive into our products,
And heavy metals
everything.
and parasitic, abilities.
Yeah, it started with an elimination. I guess you could call it even a cleanse. And then we obviously started to go, okay, well, if we're going to eliminate and reduce exposure to negative elements in our environment, we need to also be looking at adding, the necessary building blocks that our bodies need. And that's where supplementation started to kick in. And that's when we started going, well, supplementation is great, but we want to look at bioavailable sources. We want to get as much of our supplementation as we can from natural sources rather than synthetic or processed sources. And so that's where the search of the environment for foods and things like that began. But that's effectively how it progressed. It started with elimination and then supplementation.
Not with like that anti-inflammatory thing that I really wanted to get into the body. So it started with the anti-inflammatory benefits of taking chemo. I felt better. I was getting, and then my lesions. I would think, oh, well, what will help with my lesions in the brain, the spine, the numbness, the tingles, and that's kind of where a line of nootropic mushrooms started to come in. And these were all things that I started taking for myself, extraction, capsules, and I just was more curious to find the raw foods. Like I want to eat it like, way back when.
The way nature intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, MS is an inflammatory disease, right? It's characterized by these episodes of inflammation. And so we started the journey with, let's look at anti-inflammatory food, and obviously foods that are high in everything. And then, like she said, the lion's mane played a huge role early on, as did sea moss. Those were kind of the two really big components to what we did that Amanie felt really made an impact, right? Like we tried a lot of different things. It wasn't like we just Googled and then CMOS came up. We tried CMOS and we were there. This was a journey, and it took some time. And along the way, there were things that entered our process and exited our process. There were things that we began to try and dabble with, and then we slowly just cut out or phased out because we didn't feel like there was a noticeable impact. But CMOS, lion's mane, these are things that were kind of part of the core that stayed with with the regiment that we felt made a significant impact. And I was taking them too, not for any other reason other than let's use the know, let's the process. And I felt benefits to my health immediately.
Guys, hold on 1 second. Just 1 second. Down below my building, there's something going on. People screaming. So give me 1 second as they clear.
Is there?
That's like 6 floors below me. People just started all like they're celebrating something. It's Columbia.
Yeah. What are they celebrating?
I don't know. Maybe there's either something soccer. I don't know. But I hear them yelling, "Hey, Flocka!" So maybe they saw a beautiful woman. I don't know. But go ahead. Sorry, continue. I just could not hear you there for a moment.
No worries. Yeah. So, yeah, the both CMOS and lion's mane were those kind of those core things that really, really stuck with us. And we noticed the difference. We felt an impact. And even I felt the impact by taking it and in many different ways, right? Like CMOS especially, I felt almost immediately, I noticed an increase in my energy levels. Yeah. I noticed that my nails were getting less brittle. I felt it in my skin, my hair, different things like that, almost right from the get-go. So as soon as when I started to notice those things, and I knew that was the mineral impact on my body, I was like, oh, there's something to this. And so we stuck with it.
And I was taking supplements and back in the day and just taking capsules and really wanting to connect with the food actually. And so the fact that we have these one single ingredient superfoods is we really wanted to showcase and highlight these foods being integrated into our diet on a regular daily basis. So I started grabbing the mushrooms and cooking with them. I started doing the same thing with sea moss and making jellos for my little ones and sweeteners like desserts that you could make as called like a gelatin based. And so it was really trying to cook with it. I would eat dandelions. We use lots of these superfoods in our cooking. And so it just made sense for us to come at survival moss from the same approach of just teaching people how to source their superfoods from our shaga, like just providing the nuggets, and then teaching people how to make teas out of them, or you could grind them down with your coffee beans, and just really connecting to our food. And I think that was really important for me.
Hmm.
And being able to empower people with that knowledge was just another tool that they gain, because we give so much power away when we're buying, a supplement or something we don't, fully know. And having it in this form is just kind of like, you're doing it yourself. You get to try it out and find out.
Do you guys take like a whole? Are you like Brian Johnson and you have like 72 supplements or 140 some supplements that you take every day, or have you what I'm talking about, right, Brian
Yeah,
Johnson?
yeah.
No.
Don't die, don't die.
That's not a, no, honestly.
I mean, I think what he's doing is very fascinating and interesting. I love how he's pushing the
Yeah.
boundaries. But I'd love to hear your take on for yourselves. What is your protocols for yourself like, and do you feel like all that's necessary?
Well, to me, it seems exhausting, and I don't want to have to keep up with a laundry list of supplements, which is one of the reasons why initially, prior to even trying sea moss was so attractive, because here was a food that contained 92 out of the 102 minerals that your body needs. That is about as complete as it gets when it comes to a mineral supplement from nature. And so that was the primary draw for me. It was like, hey, not only where can we get supplementation from nature, but where can we get the most supplementation from nature? The interesting thing about sea moss, a lot of the minerals come from either the rocks or the salt water that they grow in. And salt is one of the most amazing things for you. The mineral profile in salt is exactly what we evolved around. For millennia, we used to preserve our food in salts.
Yep.
Salt was used as a currency at one point. We used it to trade. And so what sea moss does, the genius of sea moss, is as this plant is growing, it's absorbing that exact mineral profile, but it's storing it and then growing and storing more and growing and storing more. And so you get the mineral profile of salt in a larger dose. It's brilliant. And it was effectively the most potent multivitamin. I shouldn't say multivitamin because it's more of a mineral source than a vitamin source, although there are vitamin A, C, and E and certain trace vitamins, but primarily it's a mineral source. It is the most potent source of minerals that I was able to find. And so my thinking was, rather than trying to take a gazillion different supplements and source 180 different products,
Magnesiums and zincs.
keep up with all of it too, like it's too much. And nature does it best, right? The ratio of the minerals in sea moss and in salt is perfect for what the body needs. If you're getting too much potassium versus magnesium or vice versa, these balances, the ratios are very important, and nature provides in the exact way that our bodies were intended to consume these elements. And sea moss delivers in those ratios. And so it was just a good balanced plant, and that was kind of the draw to sea moss.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like me in that respective. I'm looking for the most effective and the most streamlined and simple way to do things, because I mean, I travel like crazy. I'm running around, and I sometimes think of like, well, what is the minimal effective or the most effective way I can still consume what I need or add in and enhance what I'm doing, and not be chained to, well, I've got to carry 2 extra suitcases just to get by, or wake up and be like, wait, which ones did I take? Which time? How does that go? But so that brought up a question when you're saying this in your examination, because I mean, the beautiful place about the world, there's so many things on the market, so many products, so many services and ideas and concepts about what's good, what's not good. When it comes to companies that produce fulvic, humic minerals, you've got Shilajit, and Shilajit is like super trendy right now. Everybody and their brother is now producing Shilajit, which is great. And a lot of the same ideas are toted. When in your examination of these things, do you feel that is it more of a different strokes for different folks, what they're appealed to?
I think
Because I operate that
both
way. Or is there like a difference from an actual nutrient profile, a consistency profile, things like that?
There's definitely a slight difference in nutrient profile, although Shilajit is a very potent mineral source. Sea moss technically has a few additional minerals that aren't in Shilajit, but that wasn't the draw. The draw for me was here was a food source, a bioavailable food source that converted those minerals and stored them internally. Now, when you consume a food that is rich in minerals, those foods are designed to be, and your body knows, produces the correct enzymes in your stomach and your gut to break foods down in order to harness all the goodness that's contained in our food. When you're consuming minerals directly, you do uptake a percentage of those minerals, but my gut, and there's some research out there to support this, was that when you're consuming it from a food, because the food itself, the plant, the animal, whatever the case is, has already done the biological work of taking that mineral and storing it in a bioavailable way, that you benefit from more from a food source than from a raw mineral source, from taking raw minerals from the earth and consuming them. Not to say that consuming raw minerals is good, that you're not going to uptake those minerals, you are. But I always felt that consuming it from a food source that is rich in those minerals, I think you deliver to your body in a way that the enzymes in your gut already knew how to break down, utilize, and process. And for me, the proof in the pudding was because we have, like, I've got Shilajit in the cabinet now. We took it for a long time, and I never noticed as much significant difference. So I had information about this, kind of ran with it, and then that was kind of proof for us. And that was one of the reasons why we did one of the core components and not Shilajit. That one time, we were taking and we were trying different things, and yeah, I always felt the sea moss. I don't know.
I think it's to diversify your source of minerals. I think like
Hey guys, do you mind repeating that? Like your audio cut out a little bit there.
oh
No, it's not that. It's not that.
no I was
I
saying
don't know if
that
it's
I think
maybe a little bit of like a delay in the connection point, but like I lost you. It got like really
I think
not pixelated, like really
Yeah.
staticky.
mhm. It's important to get diversify your sources of minerals. I do think that there should be a balance. I do think that the ocean provides minerals that our body needs, and then you can also supplement with the minerals that we get from our soils and from the shilajit. And so my personal belief is I did see obviously an improvement with the sea moss, which is why we're so passionate about it, which is why it was something that we kept with us. However, we are, now in this world, and so we do have shilajit in our pantry right now. We do have the sea moss. We have all these other hormonal herbs that are really good for us, and so yeah, I don't know. I like whole foods, and I do believe in art, and that's why kind of this has been something we carry.
Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna move. The wind appears to be becoming too intense behind me, where people are saying that it's cutting, interfering with the mic. So give me 1 second here. Maybe that will fix our problem. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Let me put some light in the situation. There we go.
There you go.
Okie dokie. How's that, everyone? Is that much better? Everyone can hear
We're
me.
back.
Let's get some feedback. How's the audio now, everyone?
Check.
Check, mic check. Once, two.
Oh,
I'll bust into a rap. Or actually, you guys should do a whole CMOS rap right now. Can you improvise a rap for us?
right.
Like a freestyle.
on
You
sea
out
moss and the
there,
benefits of how beautiful.
Oh, I can spit some bars if you need me to spit some bars.
Yeah, do it. I want to hear. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
Very cool.
The first official sea moss rap.
right?
No, don't do that to me, man. Don't do it to me.
Okay, we'll let you off the hook for
Yeah,
now.
I would
Um,
embarrass myself. Let's not go down there.
but I love what you were saying is that you found the potency and this to be effective and there's minerals in it, but you're also open to the idea of adding other things into your diet. You're not closed off to and say like, no, this is the only absolute thing
That's how we got.
to use.
Yeah, it's superfoods, and there is such a diversity in superfoods, and our bodies crave certain things in different seasons. And so I really do believe in that as well. And so if you, for us, some people will be like, I don't know if it's working. I'll be like, well, take a break, give your body a break, come back to it, and your body will crave it naturally. You know what your body needs. And if I don't take it for a week and then I feel like I need to supplement with our CMOS. And so I really do think that the body will tell you exactly what it needs when it needs it, and diversifying your foods is always really beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There is like having a bit of diversity play around your diet is also just good for your gut, typically,
Totally.
Yeah.
to expose it to. Okay, so there's a boatload of CMOS products on the market.
Yeah.
People are sticking it everywhere in anything. What is, I guess, what separates your CMOS from those products, or why is it? Because it is interesting. There's a lot of manufacturing process, and people definitely don't take things into consideration when they buy products, because there's unfortunately so many supplement companies will pick up on something that's trending, and then all of a sudden drop their version on the market, and it either has such a low dose of something in it, or it's not sourced from a good thing. But what really elevates not only your CMOS but your other products?
That's a really good question. I think when we started healing for ourselves, we really wanted to have the cleanest source, and we started thinking of how things work in the pharmaceutical world, and how we can up. And I know Daniel will speak more about the technology that we were able to apply to the superfood, which really makes us unique in the CMOS world, because we took it to, we applied the science to it.
I think that's really kind of what sets survival moss apart from all the other CMOS, because there's a ton of CMOS companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, in the beginning, there were really two categories of product. It was either you were buying CMOS as a gel, so something like this, you would get it in gel form.
Yeah.
The thing about gels is you really want to be buying this from a local artisan, because when you make the gel, it has a pretty short shelf life. You get about 3 to 4 weeks. And if it's lasting longer than that, then there's a preservative that's been added to it. And preservatives, obviously something that's in our environment that kind of goes under the radar, but something that's typically not very good for us. And so when we're thinking about health products, adding preservatives to a health product to me seems counterintuitive. And so we didn't want to buy gels online for that reason. And we couldn't find anybody locally, which is one of the reasons why we started producing it ourselves, buying the raw dried plant and just producing it ourselves. The other category is dried sea moss. And in order to dry the sea moss, you have to apply heat to it and dry the plant out sufficiently in order to powder it. Then you can consume it in capsules and stuff like that. Now, our approach was a little bit different. The problem with the capsules, and I will explain that, I'll touch on that really quick, is this plant, when you get it in its raw form like this, and it's dry, it's a very brittle, a very tough plant. The cell walls of this plant are extremely difficult. Okay. They're tough. So if you take this plant in its dry form and you blend it down into a powder, when you consume it, most of that will pass through you before it ever has had enough time for the cell walls to soften for your body to actually. That's one of the reasons, actually, that's the reason why people consume it as a gel. This plant has to be soaked for typically You can do it shorter, but we like 12 to 24 hours of soaking time in order to soften the plant enough for you to then blend it and really expose all of the goodness inside that's protected by those tough cell walls. And then that's what makes it bioavailable. Most of the powders that you're consuming on the market are not bioavailable. The problem is they haven't been processed in a way that exposes what's inside those cell walls in a way for your body to absorb. So there really was no middle ground. You either had to get it locally fresh, unless you wanted to consume preservatives, or you're buying it dry, and really you're not absorbing as much of that goodness from the dry product. So we leveraged technology to find a solution to the problem, and what we landed on was freeze drying. It was one of the only preservation techniques that involved preserving a product without adding anything to it and without using heat. So we were able to retain the integrity of all of those delicate enzymes, and all of the vitamins and certain things that are heat. Minerals aren't heat sensitive, but there are a lot of compounds that are heat sensitive. So we're able to retain those through our preservation process. And what we effectively did is we created a product that was shelf stable. And just so you know, we took our product, our freeze dried sea moss. What it actually is it's first gone through the entire process to make it bioavailable into a gel, and then it's preserved using freeze drying. So now you have a product that's shelf stable, that doesn't need to be refrigerated, and again, this is normally a product that lasts only 3 to 4 weeks in the fridge. This will last years. Doesn't need to be refrigerated. You can travel with it, keep it in your bag, and there's a little scooper inside, and you can drop it into anything. It will instantly rehydrate, and it's ready to consume. And when you consume it, it's the same thing as consuming fresh gel. So you're getting sea moss in its bioavailable form, where you can actually utilize all that nutrition, but you also get the benefits of something that's travel worthy, that lasts a long time, and it adds the convenience factor to a product that is otherwise very inconvenient.
And we see this in the pharmaceutical world with our antibiotics. They rehydrate antibiotics using the freeze drying technology. And so we've applied that same pharmaceutical technology to our superfoods, that you get a nice finished, clean product. It's bioavailable to the gut. The absorption is the best. And people have been loving it. And so it's really convenient that they can add to any food or beverage, and it just kind of reabsorbs your minerals.
It was a process. I will tell you, freeze drying we didn't start there, because first of all, it's very time consuming and and you can't do, it's difficult to do large batches without extremely large equipment. And so the facilities that have this equipment, they charge a small fortune to do individual batches. So we started off going down this route thinking, okay, how can we preserve this gel in a way where it's still healthy? What can we do? And we one by one systematically ruled out basically every other preservation technique until we got there. And then we did the only sane thing to do, which was buy a freeze dryer and begin experimenting at home. And that led us to it was a journey from there, because we had to figure out. See, we kind of had to pioneer the process. There were no other products to compare this to on the internet.
Wow.
And so there was no blueprint for us to follow. There was no, hey, let's Google what the correct temperature settings are. How do we do that?
What's the proper setting on my freeze dryer?
Yeah.
No such Google page came up for that. So we began experimenting, and we had a lot of failures.
Years of failures, I tell you. Lots of tears.
Yeah. No tears.
Well, because it's sea moss.
No, but it was a grueling process.
I rehydrated my sea moss with my tears.
Yeah. Basically, that may have happened once or twice, but it was a process, and then when we finally had it, and we were like, hey, we have something here. We started sharing it and exposing the market to that a little bit. That's actually when we met Gary.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an interesting story. We'll get back into that story. That's a sidebar story. We'll get into it. But that's Gary.
Meeting Gary is always a bit of an adventure.
Yeah.
Also, a side note, sorry to interrupt, but for those, we have our podcast. So if you guys ever want to like check back, we have our podcast with the Human Growth Core team, and it's on the page. And so you can definitely find us Survival Moss and on there.
Tell them your website real quick too, because there's a few questions that popped up. Where can we find this product?
Yeah, survivalmoss.com.
Or the Human Garage platform, they have their partners presented on their page. You could use the Human Garage discount code for some savings.
Yeah, definitely use the Human Garage discount code. And but yeah, we sell direct on our website, so just come to our website and you can get everything directed.
And then we're pop up at local events. We will be at Iquay's special maneuver class at the end of the month, and people can
Canadian,
right? And so you'll be able to get your gels. And yeah.
But anyways, so when we met Gary, that's when we had to scale things up. Obviously, he's an influential person, and then you would think, okay, we got this thing, we figured it out. Now all we got to do is bring it to a co-packer, a large producer, a large freeze-dried facility, and just give them the instructions. And in a perfect world, that would have been great. It didn't work out that way, and so that led to some additional hurdles and speed, and that was we had some expensive mistakes there, but eventually we ironed out the process, and so we had to start at the beginning. We had to pioneer the entire process, and that's one of the reasons why we're so proud of this product, because it wasn't us piggybacking on the success of predecessors. This was us trailblazing this category, and and that's what got us here.
So, just to understand that correctly, I play it back. Is the method that you guys formulate the powder into is a process that you created that what has not really on the market. So, when someone is out there looking or shopping for sea moss, I mean, there's not really a way to tell how it's processed, is there? Or is there a designation? Do you guys? I mean, obviously, if you go to your website, you can read like, here's why this is different.
Yeah.
But I mean, is that process now kind of starting to filter out there where people are making these claims themselves, or is this still like a thing that you guys are dealing with daily?
I haven't seen it. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's on our product. It says freeze-dried sea moss on it. We debated whether we even wanted to put that on the label, but the reason we did it is because nobody is using this preservation technique to make their products. Because it's not economical. It doesn't make sense. Like, if you're trying to start a business, that's not the way to do it. It doesn't make sense. But it happens to be the best way to do it. And so, from what I've seen out there, we don't have any direct competitors. Will it be that way forever? Probably not. But I mean, if you're looking out there, unless it explicitly says that this is a freeze-dried product, I doubt that it is. And likely, if somebody's going to go through the difficulty and the extra financial investment to freeze-dry a product, they're gonna want to mention that.
Yeah, they're gonna celebrate it like, look what I've done.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's incredible. No, because I did not, before coming across your product, I did not know that differential, that stuff on the market wasn't done that way, or it's just at all. So
they have to preserve.
Maybe we can safely say that, hey, most of the sea moss guys you're buying out there, I'll say it so you guys don't have to, is not that good unless you're harvesting it and making a gel yourself, or you're getting a gel that's pretty fresh.
Yeah. That's the like, if you can do it fresh and do it yourself, I mean, that's about as good as it gets. Anything else is going to.
And anything, you want to pay attention to where you're sourcing it. You want to make sure it's not pool grown sea moss. There's pool grown sea moss, and then you taste the chlorine. And so some people will say, "Oh, why does it taste like that?" And they taste that flavor, the chlorinated flavor. And a lot of sea moss is pool grown, and so you want to make sure it's wild harvested. It's sourced from a clean environment that is not exposed to overload of.
That was another. I didn't even touch on that. That was actually another big part of our journey, was testing out different sources of sea moss until we landed on our source. I mean, when we go to the markets, I can always tell when there's somebody that's had sea moss before. They come to our booth and they're talking to us, and I can tell they've had some experience with sea moss, and it wasn't great. You get that sense of, and I always encourage them. I'm like, well, try ours. I want you to try. Here's a sample.
Yeah.
And typically the response is always really like positive. They're like, oh, and it's because a big part of our process, aside from sourcing high quality sea moss, was how do we prepare this in the correct way? We realized early on that the reason sea moss tasted so awful had little to do with the sea moss and more to do with the steps you took leading up to consuming the sea moss. Because sea moss itself, the gold sea moss, the one that we use in our primary product, and we are coming out with there's a variation of the plant that's green, that's higher in chlorophyll, and another variation of the plant that's purple, that's higher in, there was a couple other phytonutrients, that's what it was. So we are releasing those as well, but the gold one's not supposed to have any flavor. It's supposed to be almost tasteless and odorless. But when you try most products out there, they're awful. They taste like the ocean. And it's because they're not washing the ocean off of the outside of the plant. So you're actually, if you process this plant properly, it's cleaned properly, it goes through the proper blending, you're using filtered high quality water in the process. If you're going through all the steps correctly, the end result should be a very neutral flavor and still high potency, high density mineral gel. And I think that was the part that really, when we were at the markets, we were very successful even prior to really commercializing our freeze-dried product. So we already had a very good sea moss product to begin with before we went down this path and pioneered it and turned it into a convenient, very good sea moss product.
Yeah,
so.
it was just very clean. People could tell the flavor was just, they were more comfortable consuming it. They would feed it to their children. It wasn't, it was really well received. And yeah, it was just from trying out different recipes and really playing around with the plant and navigating through the outside residual bits that were on the plant, and it was not the plant itself. So
Mandy became a sea moss expert in the process.
Connoisseur.
She was,
connoisseurs now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. I love these. I love the concept of when someone ends up building or turning into a product or something you see is missing from the market because they took the time to like really kind of deep dive into something and look behind it. Because I mean, the average consumer, the average person doesn't know. They just hear about this cool trending product, right? And they're like, oh, I heard that's good for me, so let me buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually a whole lineage or a whole history behind that simple product. And if you don't really, I mean, kind of pay attention or do a little bit of looking, I don't know. I mean, I wonder, it'd be interesting to test out various products in the market and actually see where the mineral content sits or where they are comparatively, because I kind of feel like with most supplements out there, you have to do research. You have to look into it. My fellow human beings out there, I believe this because that's what led me to create my own products and my own company too. Is I started researching stuff and saw like these gaps, or I saw how people were just cutting corners in how they made from a skincare product down to a supplement, and it blew my mind. And I think, probably the human garage audience is probably a bit more educated than general audience because they are people interested in health and wellness. But still, I think it's so important to dive deep and do research, because then you find out things like this of like, hey, you are throwing your money down the drain to a certain degree because you're buying this supplement that who knows where it's from, who knows where the sourcing is from, and it has inferior version of it, and you're getting probably potentially a lot of other chemicals that may have not even been cleaned out because of wherever the ocean source was, wherever the water source was, or if it was grown in a pool, for crying out loud.
And to add to that, like, we're parents, I'm a mother, I'm giving this to my children because I was so scared of my experience that I'm seeing it's working for me, and I wanted to start that with my children. And we have a 3-year-old, a 7-year-old that they take survival moss every day. When my little one has sniffles, so like, Mommy, I really need survival moss.
So cute.
And we'll go down and take a few spoonfuls. So it's like, this is a part of our our daily lifestyle, and I wanted something that I trust for my own children.
Yeah.
And we had to do it ourselves so that we felt confident in what we were giving our little beings.
When you're giving it something to your kids, you definitely put a little extra effort into making sure it's clean and safe and etc. So
So it's been really cool to be able to see other parents, you know, feel comfortable sharing this sea moss with their children and the lion's mane, because they know that they're just incorporating a clean, high quality food that's just been preserved using advanced technology with no additives or preservatives. And it's really nice. People are using it for their pets, for their children, their fur babies, you name it. And our reviews really speak for themselves. So
where again can we find survival months? And what's the discount code? I'll let you guys broadcast that.
Check out the Human Garage platform under partners and affiliates. We are Survival Moss. You could also go on survivalmoss.com and find us on our Instagram, Survival Moss, and make sure you use the Human Garage discount code for some savings.
Yeah, the discount code is Human Garage. No spaces.
Yeah, one word.
Human Garage, no spaces, just the word.
Easy.
Human Garage.
Human Garage, yeah.
Not separate, together.
Yeah, we showcase how you can actually turn our freeze dried. So we are coming up with some really exciting products that we're looking forward to sharing with you all.
Inspired us.
And yeah, Gary really inspired some of these upcoming products that are going to come out. We will be making a freeze dried maple cinnamon, the apple pie flavor. So people will be able to scoop it into their coffee as like a creamer, a sea moss creamer, but also they can rehydrate it and make their own sweet cinnamon gel that they can make on the go and consume, refrigerate it, and take by spoonful for that month.
That's amazing. I want coffee creamer for sure. My morning cup needs some more things thrown in it.
Actually, great in coffee. That's how I consume it.
Yeah. I'd love to hear how you guys met that crazy guy Gary.
Oh, that was fun.
Well,
yeah.
I started off at the farmer's market, and I was very humble beginnings. I think I only had jars. I only had one simple jar, and maybe the first phase of our freeze-dried powders. And I had them out on my one table with no signage, nothing. And Cynthia would come by and try my sea moss, and I would have conversations with her almost weekly. Not knowing, you know, she's just so lovely. Oh, she's coming to hang out. Let's talk. And one week, Daniel and I were at the farmer's market, and Gary and the team comes by our booth, and it was just
you know how Gary is. He came in hot and heavy, and it was and
when was your birthday? When were you born?
Yeah. What's your sign?
What's your sign? Who are you?
And
Let me tell you what's going on with you right now.
On me that within like 3 seconds of meeting him, I was crying. Like
it was funny because I had not heard of Human Garage at that point, and so I met Gary, and he's wearing a Human Garage shirt, and he saw me look down at it, and he was like, are you familiar with Human Garage? And I was like, no. And so I didn't really know who I was speaking to at that point, right? But he came in super high energy, as he always is, and he was with Cynthia, and there was a couple others in the gang, and Gary's a fast talker, and he's a mover and a shaker, right? It's like he comes in, he's like, I really love this part. This is innovative. This is great. He tries. This is really good. I love it. We need to do some work together. You know what? Here, start record a video. Cynthia, record a video. And he started shooting a video, and I'm like, and it was high energy, exciting, and then in a flash he was gone, like a hurricane.
But the thing is, he had, like, obviously Cynthia had come by, she had tried our products, but we just hadn't met them until that day, and it was really motivating and inspiring for us who were just kind of doing something, not sure like what, we're just sharing our knowledge. We were passionate about it, but we didn't meet people who were as excited, passionate about sea moss as we were, and so it really was the perfect combination, and it was just meant to be, and it was divine destiny, really.
Imagine hanging out with with that, the things that the human garage gets excited about, it's bizarre. Oh my God, herbs, sea moss. Oh my God, dirt. Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
You're like, wow, okay, you're pumped about, okay.
Yeah.
It gets very bizarre sometimes.
But we got to expand our knowledge too, and then like seeing how CMOS does impact the fascia, and then the fascial maneuvers, and us like really working on ourselves. For me, it really makes sense of everything. Like I felt it, and then meeting the Human Garage team, and then really understanding why all this works really well together.
Yeah.
Explained my healing, explained my progression throughout the journey, and it just made sense. And I was like, okay, I'm on the right path, and you just keep going, and you get more momentum. So it's really,
Don't look back.
it's nice to find your community. You know, we're all like, it's okay being a weirdo as long as you find your community.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Wait, are you saying we're weird? We're all weird. We're all weirdos. So for you guys, what's next? I mean, I know you're developing some potentially new products you're talking about. But if you want to elaborate on that, but like, what's next for Survival Moss? Where are you guys headed?
You know, survival moss began without a clear path. To be honest, there wasn't really a path in the beginning for us. Like, we didn't look at what we had in front of us and go, we should turn this into a business. It didn't begin that way.
Yeah.
And it actually evolved kind of quickly, relatively quickly. And to be frank, we don't really have a path forward. We're kind of just allowing the universe
to guide us
and take us where, and for really some reason it seems to be working, because opportunities continue to align, and it's almost like a path is being paved for us to share this thing with the world. I mean, it's not always a smooth path, right? But yeah, the path forward for us is we're going to continue innovating. We have, like she said earlier, we're always incorporating different things and trying different things.
Yeah, it's for ourselves.
And this company started off as like a CMOS company, but we actually, not that long ago, we kind of changed our motto from freeze-dried CMOS to freeze-dried superfoods, and our focus has broadened a little bit, and we're so happy with the results of the way that we're able to incorporate this preservation technology and bring foods that otherwise are spoil quickly and are difficult to find, especially in high quality forms. We can now share these with people who may be remote, maybe rural areas, maybe travel a lot, etc. So we're taking this concept and we're kind of running with it when it comes, but not too broadly. We're still only really incorporating things that we feel extremely passionately about, and things that we find that we've incorporated into our own lives and we found are worthwhile. And so
these are all things that that are this is on my stove right now, like just for tonight. Like, these are all things that we use and things that we want to share. And so we're, of course, superfoods. Maybe mushrooms are kind of our passion as well. And so we got the shaga mushroom.
Nice.
We have lion's mane, was been like very amazing for my healing.
This was Amanie inspired. This is our immune blend. I almost wanted to call it the MS blend, but I thought maybe that would cause some.
It's autoimmune, right? But
autoimmune blend, yeah. So
it's our 1-to-1 ratio of lion's mane CMOS.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're the first out there that we know that have combined the two, nervous system boosting superfoods together.
Yeah.
But it's also amazing for autoimmune diseases.
I have to try that one. I haven't tried that.
Lion's mane and CMOS actually complement each other very well, especially if you're dealing with an autoimmune condition. And so that's why it's our immune blend, right? It's our CMOS, our survival moss autoimmune blend.
Yeah, but we have our, to speak of the future, we've got a green sea moss coming out. So it'll be the green breed of sea moss, which is higher in chlorophyll. Then we'll have our purple sea moss that people can also integrate into their foods as well. It will have a little bit more of a flavor. So not all the forms of sea moss are as tasteless as our gold. However, they have a diverse nutritional profile that people can gain extra benefits from. And then also it's been popular demand. People want a moss that they can give to their fur babies. And so we're excited to share a pet moss coming out soon that people can add to their pet food that is designed, for your little fur babies.
Gary also is a big fan of gels. He prefers to consume his sea moss just straight in gel form. He just wants to take it by the spoonful. And so we are in the near future going to be releasing a product where we will actually ship out a mason jar similar to this, and we'll ship out refill packages. Each one will be the exact quantity of freeze-dried sea moss that you can add, fill it up with water, shake it, and it will also contain, we're going to come up with a few different flavors. So it will be flavored gel that you can just make on demand. So you'll rehydrate the entire jar at one time, put it in your fridge, and then that way you can consume it by the spoonful, and it has
no preservatives, and it's all natural, like no additives. Really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Oh, I think, is that a question? Is the purple moss Irish moss Chondrus crispus? I'll shut you guys out immediately.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not Chondrus crispus. It's Eucheme cottoni is the subspecies. Chondrus crispus grows in Atlantic regions, mostly in northern Atlantic regions. Eucheme cottoni comes from the South American, Latin American, and also off the coast of Africa and different things like that. There were a few reasons we landed on Eucheme cottoni. Initially, very early in our exploratory journey, we did try all different varieties. When it came to mineral composition, there was very little difference between them. Although the Chondrus crispus is a subvariant of the red algae. It's the same family of sea moss, but it does have a little bit extra on phytonutrients. It's closer, it's more similarly related to the red Eucheme cottoni. And so we landed on this product because for two reasons, but the primary reason was we had a source for this that came from pristine remote waters. It's very difficult to find Chondrus crispus from an area that's remote. Most of it is close to larger populations, and that posed a problem for us because whenever we would test the sea moss, it was it's difficult to find something that was clean, right? And so with Eucheme cottoni, we have sources that are more remote, very clean waters, and if there's no real difference in terms of mineral composition, then for us it was a clear choice. Plus, I actually like the taste of Eucheme cottoni a little bit better. It had a little bit less flavor. So during our experimentation phase and testing phase, we journeyed through a lot. It wasn't just those two species. So yeah, if you bought sea moss from us early on, you may have noticed that the package actually said Chondrus crispus on it. And the early ones did, but we now use Eucheme cottoni. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great breakdown of that. Great designation. I love your business plan. Not really a plan. Here's a spreadsheet of the next 4 quarters. Question. I love it. But you are working on some great things. I mean, those are all amazing ideas. And I actually have an idea that I want to hit you guys with in our chat. You made me think of something.
You gotta use beauty products. You gotta put some freeze dried in our beauty products.
Yes, that's what I was like. Oh, hey, wait a second. There's some. Got me thinking that because I actually was in talks with a fulvic mineral company about adding they make a patented product. They have like a patent on it called NLG 50 of using that potentially in some of my products. I've used it for a while in one of the body oils because it's just full of minerals. But I kind of like this idea of We have to have a conversation because I have some ideas.
Moss is amazing topically.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
It, like people who have eczema, psoriasis, their children that are on steroids, they'll literally grab a sample cup from our farmers market and start putting on their kids, and then they'll come back and
Yeah,
they'll be
they'll
like,
walk around.
"Oh my gosh, look how it's reduced it," and they'll come back just because we just suggested to put it on them topically, and it's really amazing for your skin and your hair.
Okay, so here's a little bit what I want to do. I want to throw this out there for you guys because we've been talking about products, and obviously we're going to take a little bit of time to answer some questions if anyone has some questions. But before we take some questions, I would love to hear something from you guys as two wonderful human beings. What are some books you recommend? What's a good song to listen to tonight for everybody? And I need a word that you love. It's kind of cheesy, but I like to hear what people's brains, how they work around music and how they work around what they like to. And maybe if you hate books, that's okay. You can come up with something to watch. But I'm just curious about some recommendations you would throw out there to everyone and me, because I always like hearing new things.
Book. I'm not a fantasy sci-fi story type book reader. I like to read things that provide me with tools and things like, I love psychology books and things like that. Anything from Eckhart Tolle,
Okay.
even Joe Dispenza is really good. Robert Greene. There's for me, I don't read books for pleasure. I read books for kind of knowledge, but I don't listen to music. I'm like I drive around in the car with no music on. If you're with me in the car, you're probably bored as hell because but I find that's where I do my best thinking. When I'm in the car and there's no music on, it gives me time to kind of contemplate things and ponder, and my mind sometimes races when I'm in that zone. But she likes music. Maybe you can help with that one.
It's funny because now I have like this frequency playlist on my phone, so I sometimes will get into my car and I'll be like, "Oh," my kids will be like, "What's on here?" And I'm like, just chill. Or frequencies right now. But yeah, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
They walk in the car like, "Hey, that sounds like 728 hertz.
Yeah,
we should be at like 428."
Yeah, my little one will be like, "No, that's 432, Dad."
Yeah, so for Dr. Joe Dispenza is a huge kind of with the just perspective and motivational like self-speaking. I think for me that was really big. So I'm always kind of looking for those motivational types of audiobooks that I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the most recent one I have on my audiobook now. I've got a few going. But I do have Supernatural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Supernatural.
How did you guys meet, by the way?
Oh.
Tinder.
I'm Tinderella.
Really?
Yeah, we met online. Yeah. It was 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right around Valentine's Day.
Tinder came out around that time, didn't it? It was like newer app at that point.
It was when it wasn't so bad,
Tinder's evolved. It doesn't have the same
right.
Yeah. We met online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quite funny.
Yeah.
He had like an anonymous mask in his profile picture, so I didn't even know what he looked like.
I was almost half joking when I created the account. I was literally, like she said, my profile picture was me in an anonymous mask sitting in front of a server mainframe, like just weirdo, right?
The weirdos behind Survival Moss, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's,
it resonated.
Like a critical thinker. Let's find out what he does.
It resonated with her, apparently.
That's cool. Yeah. Tinder, good old Tinder.
Tinder.
I love it. And then, also, what is the dynamic? Because you guys obviously are together and have children together. What's it like also kind of cohabitating in a business?
It can be challenging. It can be challenging. If you've ever started a business with anybody, businesses are similar to marriages, right? There's a lot of ebbs and flows, and whenever you have disagreements on something, you got to figure out how to find that balance. There's give and take, and so it's very similar to running a business is very similar to running a marriage with a partnership. Now, that being said, I think that when you get into business with your partner, if you already have that ebb and flow and you've kind of figured that out, you can apply that to your business as well.
Mhm.
And honestly,
This is a baby to us. This
Yeah.
is our third baby. And you know, I am the mother of this baby and this is the father of the baby, and we sometimes communicate like that, and I'm super protective over my baby, and you know, like and you'll see that dynamic in the way we, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you know, we don't always agree on you know, certain details and this and that, and we may bicker about some details, but ultimately I think that's healthy for a business and a marriage, right?
And wanting the best for, you know,
Yeah,
whatever it is. We could
of
challenge
course.
each other sometimes and bring up points that, you know, I'm that artsy fartsy girl who follows her heart, and he has that logical kind of comes up with a plan, and
Yeah.
so it is a symbiotic relationship where, you know, both are necessary.
We don't have the one drawback I would say though is that there's no, like, usually if you have a business, if you have a you know, that's what
We need a referee.
if you have a business, typically you know, when you're done working, you go home and you kind of put it aside, right?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
okay, I'm done work. This is my family time now.
Mhm.
Those lines are completely blurred
Yeah.
when both are in the same place and your business is your family and your family is your business.
Yeah.
You know, so you end up working more. You end up spending more time talking about the business, and it might not be a bad thing, but yeah, that's one of the drawbacks, of course, of business
Yeah.
marriage partner relationships.
And you don't have to share this next question if you don't want to, but what is one of the funniest or quirkiest battles you've had in the business, like with was it like, no, the package should be pink, no, it should be blue, or like was there anything like that, like where it was like, what are we even talking about right now?
No, it's so funny because it's yeah, I want to be with people. So I'm like I want to be with people, let me hang out with them, bring me to a market. Like I just, you know,
That is one of the big.
so that's probably one of the things is I really love being on the ground and talking to people and
Yeah.
hearing their experiences. And so this is digital Daniel. And so for him, it like he likes that and I gain from the connection and which is awesome that we both are here. We
Yeah.
both get to play those roles.
I gravitate to the online thing,
Yeah.
and she gravitates to the in-person thing 100%. She's a very social person. I'm more, I don't want to say antisocial, but I'm a bit more of a recluse when it comes to, you know, my free time, and even the markets. Like we really shouldn't be doing markets anymore, but we still do them because Amanie loves connecting with people and being there on the ground and sharing the story. Yeah,
She
she
throws an
loves.
elbow. We're doing markets.
I've been trying to talk her out of it for a year. It's funny too. Everybody that comes to the market to talk to us, I tell them too. I'm like, I don't know, I'm still doing this, you know. And she's like, we love being here. You know? So that's the one really major disagreement I would say that we have.
That's
But we make
fun
it
though.
work.
It's-
It's a compromise. I don't mind. The markets are good. They're good. It's good to meet the people that are part of the community, the people that use your product and like your product. It's good to hear their feedback in person. You know, a lot of times we don't get the personal stories, except for when you're out of market. When you're out of market, people come up to you, and you know, some of the stories are sad, and some of the stories are heartwarming, and you get to have those connections. You don't get those if you're running an online business. You might get the odd email here and there, but it doesn't connect the same way as when somebody comes to your booth and is thanking you for, you know, something that's impacted their life, and so
that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Like that's maybe my drive behind Survival Moss is really just kind of hearing everyone's impacts and stories and just being like, oh, okay, it makes me feel good. It keeps me going. It keeps me inspired and feel like I'm on the right track, and everyone else's happiness and success is just kind of.
if you're listening to this, keep those stories coming. She feeds off.
Yeah, I love it.
And we love that feedback.
Thank
We do.
you.
We really do.
It's so awesome, and I love the fact that I mean, and beautiful to be working on business together, having a relationship together, because those challenges of both are probably two of the best, most incredible growth tools you could ever ask for. Trying to be an entrepreneur and being an entrepreneur, actually doing it, and also having a marriage and managing a family. So it's incredible you both chose such two hugely challenging things, and you're doing it, and you're crushing it, and you're bringing it to the world, and you're bringing something beautiful, you're bringing something magical into the universe, and doing it with an extraordinary amount of quality, which is so key, guys, because so many supplements blow, honestly. Look for quality, look for good stuff. I want to do, I want to take a few questions if anyone has any questions, and then I want to wind things down. And we're gonna sync out. This is something we usually start things off with. I've been playing around with doing it on the way out. So we're going to do a little sync out after we take a few questions. So if anybody out there has any questions you want to drop in the chat. We'll do our best to see them as they pop up. Anything about any of the products, because you've got sea moss, you've got lion's mane, you've got chaga, and you got some variations on the sea moss itself. So,
And if you're feeling,
and again, you can go over to their website. You can use Human Garage as a code, but go for your questions, anybody.
yeah. And if anybody's feeling adventurous, we do also have the sun dried. If you want to make it yourself at home, make your own gels.
Let's give a few moments. I think everyone is good. If you just tuned in right now, guys, you'll have to go back and watch the replay because we're actually wrapping up. So go back, and this will be posted shortly after we finish. You'll be able to watch everything, deep dive with Survival Moss on this brilliant, brilliant product, because this is the best of the best. So I'm saying it. They're not saying it. I can say it. Because then it sounds like they're just bragging, but they have the right to brag because their process of making, if you're just joining us, this is why I'm saying this, their process of creating sea moss preserves the minerals and nutrient content at a higher level than most likely anybody else. They actually pioneered a process that no one at this point knows if anyone else is actually doing this with their sea moss on the marketplace. People might be doing this on their own as a human being in their bedrooms or in their kitchens, but no one is actually has a product on the market where the sea moss has been freeze dried to preserve it and give it a shelf life, make it portable, and make it way more accessible and preserve the nutrient content, which is the whole reason you're taking this stuff in the first place, is to get the minerals and the nutrients from it. So if you're just going and buying
accessibility, yeah, accessibility. That was the primary driver for us too. When we were originally like, how can we share this with more people?
Yeah.
And we realized reaching people that were remote or that were in areas where there were no artisans local to them was going to be a challenge, and people don't want to go through the trouble of making sea moss. Like anybody that's tried it probably realized early on that this was a huge inconvenience. It's not only time consuming, but it can't be done in a single session. You quite literally have to, go through the process, begin it, and then soak, and then wait 24 hours, and then continue the process and blend. You end up washing your blender when it's done and dishes, and and then it doesn't last long, so you're repeating that process over and over again. So for us, it was like, how can we make this convenient and at the same time be able to bring this product to people who are remote and in a way where we don't degrade or sacrifice the quality of the product. And that was the fact that we were even there's a lot of criteria there. The fact that we were able to do that and address all of those bullet points is the reason we're so proud of this venture. It was a huge undertaking, and we got it done.
And you got it done. Congratulations on that for sure. Lawanda44 says, I'd like to know where it's from. Do you mean where the sea moss is sourced from, or where these guys live? Because they're not going to give you their address, although they're Canadian.
1268.
They're very peaceful. Yeah.
So it says where we source our sea moss from.
Yeah. Of all the places we looked at, St. Lucia is kind of known for their wild harvesting processes. Also, the water there is pristine. There's parts of St. Lucia that are very remote where they produce the best sea moss. And so, we chose St. Lucia after comparing a bunch of different locations, but St. Lucia is really good.
And our mushrooms are BC source. So we have a cultivator, we have a mycologist that's local that we get our lion's mane from, and then we have our northern BC foraged chaga mushrooms. So these are wild, and you get just the raw chaga that you can prepare your.
2/3 of our products are Canadian.
Hey, Hey, it's great because it's local, right?
That's right.
Locally sourced, even though you can distribute throughout. I mean,
Yeah.
sourcing the raw materials from as local as possible, because also that local sourcing provides local jobs for local people in communities and keeps communities strong.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people forget that when you're trying to pull stuff from every other place, it's not possible for certain products. You do have to source from far away.
Yeah.
But where you can, trying to incorporate, hey, I can get this locally and it's great, high quality, awesome, because
Yeah.
it supports those people, which then in turn supports and builds a strong community.
Yeah. I want to get turkey tail, so maybe I'm putting a feeler out. If anyone wants turkey tail, let me know if it's something that you would want us to add to our superfoods. It's something that I've had on my mind for a while, and so maybe it will be something in the future.
You'll manifest it, I'm sure.
I'm sure I'll manifest it.
Yeah,
You
but
plant the seed,
our lion's
you're 50 phone calls. Hey, I got turkey tail. I got turkey tail.
yeah. Well, our lion's mane, the lion's mane is another product that doesn't last very long. From the point that lion's mane is plucked from the rest of the mycelium, it degrades within like a week to a week and a half. So that was another product that we were like, oh man, it's so good fresh. It's so good for you when it's a raw, fresh, plant mushroom. And how can we share this? And applying the freeze drying technique to it was another huge breakthrough. So yeah, getting it locally was a big part of that because
yeah, it's hard to find lion's mane, especially if you want like gourmet, pristine looking mushrooms.
Yeah.
Often they'll use the grade C, D, E in the supplement world. So we really pride ourselves that we're taking like the beautiful gourmet mushrooms that they're sending off to the Michelin restaurants in Vancouver, and then we're preserving that into our superfoods. So you're getting really
we pick the lion's mane that we pick is like show worthy fruiting bodies. It's there is an option. We did have the ability to get what they call B grade, which is it's still lion's mane, it's still good, but it's blemished. And we were like, there's no way. They were like, but it's half the price.
Our source is like, why are you doing gourmet mushrooms for supplements? And I'm like, no, I want to source the best of the best. So they question why we're using such high quality mushrooms for a supplement, but we're doing it. That's how I want to consume it. So I know others would probably appreciate that as well.
I appreciate it. That whole conversation is what led me into wanting to make products and championing companies that pay attention and fight against these, because I formulated a whole supplement line years ago, and I fought with almost every manufacturer I talked to. Hey, dude, why are you putting all that stuff on there? You can make this with these ingredients, and they're way cheaper, and you don't have to put that much in there. You can put like this amount. And I was like, dude, this is the whole reason I formulated this in the first place, is because I wanted to actually have an impact on the people who are taking it, potentially have an impact on the people who are taking it, because everybody's body is a little bit different, but I want to give it the best shot. And these ingredients actually have reached people. They're like, yeah, but that's going to cost you so much more money. You're not going to be able to make a good, the best kind of margin. I was like,
that's part of the challenge.
That's why we're here, right? Yeah, because we wanted something different than what is out there.
So many supplement brands are in it for the business, for the money. And when you're in it for the business and for the money, you just want to put just enough ingredients in there to be able to put it on the label and say you're taking these ingredients, because that's the most economical. That's what the shareholders are going to respond to. That's all you're thinking about. We approach this completely differently. It's one of the reasons why too we get a lot of people who are like, why is your product so much more expensive than these other CMOS products? Well, that's why we cut no corners. You're consuming just CMOS. There's nothing else in there. And so, part of making a high quality product and bringing it to market means that it's going to be at a premium. And we try and keep that margin as thin as we can to pass those savings along. But at the end of the day,
quality.
We're unwavering in our pursuit of producing a product that is, premium plus.
and anybody out there who's concerned, spend your dollars wisely. this is an investment in your body. It's an investment in your thing, and it's not some kind of crazy investment you're making in survival loss. But when you're looking at purchasing a product, these little
Anything.
nuances, like where it's sourced, how it's made, its bioavailability, are the hugest factors into making something useful. Otherwise, you might spend less and get some sea moss for like $10 or $15 because you bought it at CVS. Because brands are like, oh, sea moss, yes, let's put it in there. And like you said, they put enough to get it on the label. But that $15 that you're spending is going pretty much nowhere good.
Yeah.
It's going right. Well, it's going in the toilet where it should be in the first place.
Or just
So
investing in your health in the future, you end up getting a
That's a bigger
recommend, like your
price.
medication is 100,000 a year. That's what I was faced with.
yeah,
The options was, this is a possible route. You have this medication that is not really successful, but it costs you 100,000 a year.
yeah.
Well, I would have loved to source organic, clean foods that would nourish my body rather than, maybe not have.
I think I heard somebody say it one time like this. They said, you either invest in your health now or you're going to invest in your health later.
Yeah.
And how you want to do it is up to you, but you're going to have a much better quality of life investing in your health now.
Yeah.
Because on the tail end of it, it's going to be medication, hospital visits and things like that. And it's not the investment you want to be making, right?
And the time factor, you don't get your time back unless unless you believe in reincarnation, you pop back here
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and then you don't remember that you came back again. But if you're spending your time being sick and not being able to engage with your family, engage with your friends, pursue your dreams, pursue your goals because you're cheapening your own adventure into health, that time doesn't come back currently.
Yeah.
Maybe it will at some point, but right now it doesn't seem to.
Right.
And that could be just a belief I have, but it doesn't appear
Right.
to.
And it will hit home with those people who did have fallen sick. And for
Yeah.
myself, I was disabled. I was not able bodied. So now when I walk, I'm like, I'm walking, guys. I got this blessing taking. Yeah. So you that really just gives you an appreciation for your temple, and then you just want to nurture it and take care of it because it's about optimizing your health. It's not about just making it by anymore.
This will definitely resonate with people who have been through something like that because they understand, right? Sometimes you can, all the sayings in the world won't sink in if you haven't kind of gone through some stuff on your own. So, but yeah, it's absolutely true. You're either investing in yourself or I saw a comment,
Pay the farmer.
pay the farmer now or pay the pharmacy later. It's effectively,
I'd rather pay the farmer. Guys, this has been incredible.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed talking to you so much. Survival Moss, use code Human Garage, all one word. You can either go directly to their website, use that code. Don't forget to use that code because it gives you a little break. Or if you're on our website already, just go to our partners and products and you'll find the links directly to their website there as well. Either way, it doesn't make a difference, but use the code if you can.
Yeah. Our podcast with the Human Garage on YouTube. They have it on their link, and if you want to just reach out, I could send it out to you as well. If you want to know about
what's your Instagram handle? Drop your Instagram handle in there so if people can follow you, please, if you can, drop it in there. Because my partner in crime for these was not able to come on today, and she usually is able to drop stuff as we're chatting. She was not able to make it to the call. So, and if I start trying to type stuff in here, I'm going to hang something up. So I'm avoiding this. Thank you for everyone for just, taking the time.
Thanks for having me. We really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us today.
Follow, DM, ask lots of questions if you're still curious. Again, all questions are good because if you're going to invest in yourself, you want to know what you're getting. We've covered it. There will be, for people too, if you want to just go watch this will be posted again. You can go back and watch the entire conversation and join the venture there. Remember, we've got a cool event coming up if LA does not burn down in the meantime on the 18th in LA. A hands-on event, which is a deep dive into the who, what, where, and when, why of working on somebody. A much deeper experience than just a regular fascial maneuvers adventure. Yeah, it's so amazing. You guys have been to hands-on, right?
I've got, yeah, I love taking part in their events, and so it's transformative. It really is. When they say transformative, it's been transformative every single time for
Yeah.
me.
It's a good time. You meet a lot of cool people, and you get some cool work done on your body,
Yeah.
which is always fun to learn new techniques to free yourself, free your energy, put you back in place. Also, don't forget to join our community. I start to turn into that like robot who's like, "Hey guys, now join the community. Now do this." Uh, but before we wrap up, I want to sync out. I want to sync out with everyone who's on the call with us and you guys. This is a process that we actually do before we start our meetings. And just out of curiosity, I wanted to see how it wound a meeting down, because we usually do this to start off a meeting. If when we're together as a group, we usually do this before we start eating, before we start talking. It's actually a really cool tool to do if you're about to sit down with your spouse or maybe your business partner as well, which I think is amazing that you guys do together, to groove in energetically, to tune your frequencies in. We call it syncing up, but we're going to sync out today. The only thing you're going to do, and I'm not going to get far enough back because we'll lose audio, but you're going to, if you seem like totally twisted, you're basically doing a version of that. And you can do this sitting. You don't have to cross your legs if you don't want to, but you're going to stick your left hand underneath your right hand on top of your shoulder, and you're going to turn your head to the right and bring your right shoulder to the left. So you're going to get a twist going on. And we're just going to simply take 6 breaths. If you're driving, please do not try this. I have to say that because somebody probably is like, wait a second. Please, if you're driving, don't do this. Because depending on if you haven't taken a deep breath for a while, you might also feel a little buzzing and high. We're going to take 6 breaths. I'm going to count them off. You are more than welcome to do it in through your nose, out through your nose, in through your nose, out through your mouth, or if your nose is all plugged up, there's a fascial maneuver to release your sinuses, but we won't do that right now. You can breathe through your mouth, in through the mouth, out through the mouth. I personally prefer as much nasal breathing as humanly possible. I always try to breathe through my nose. So we're going to twist. Again, left hand underneath, right hand on top of your shoulder. Your shoulders go to the left. Your head goes to the right. And let's take that first breath together. Exhale. Breath number 2. Breath number 3. Breath number 4. Breath number 5. And breath number 6. And then you can just come back and open yourself back up. And typically what we do is when we're together around, we actually make eye contact with everybody, connect the eyes, which kind of finishes off the connection. But that made me feel really chill and relaxed. I already was, but now even more so. I'm like, again, thank you guys so much. Shout out your names, shout out who you are one last time, and we'll say adios to everybody.
Thank you, everyone. We're Survival Moss. Please check us out at survivalmoss.com or on the Human Garage platform using the Human Garage discount code for saving. And we hope to see you all soon. Well,
Yeah, we'll have to. I don't know when we're coming back to Canada, but
I know.
yeah, you guys have to. Maybe you guys should take a trip down to the U.S. and be really cool,
Mhm.
and then we can shoot some content.
Totally.
That's
Be
perfect.
cool to shoot some updated content with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. We love that.
Awesome.
All right, everyone.
Well, thank
Thanks for
you.
tuning in. Just as a reminder, we do this every Wednesday, unless I get run over by a car in the meantime. Then maybe someone else will replace me. But every Wednesday at 5:30 Eastern, we take a deep collaborators, our partners, influencers, to understand why they created what they created, why they built their products, why they wanted to bring it to the market, what happened in their life, and just try to get a clear picture of what's going on in their minds and their souls and humanize it. Because we always see companies, we see products, cool, but who are the people behind them? We wanted to start to do a deeper dive into that. and how they think and why they believe what they did and what led them on their journey. So we do this every Wednesday, 5:30. We're going to start simulcasting into our app, and we are going to be very shortly launching a dedicated Instagram page, which is going to give the opportunity for you guys as an audience to communicate directly with our partners. They're going to have like able to go live. We're going to go live. We're going to have good conversations and allow a much more robust conversation and a much more focused conversation, because on our app currently we have so many things coming on our app. Sometimes things get a little bit lost in translation. So we are going to be launching a dedicated space for that, plus simulcasting. So if you are in our app, you'll also be able to watch there and then communicate directly with our collaborators. If you guys want, you can follow me directly at Aaron Matthias, The Purpose, or pulseoflife.co. If you want to DM me and ask me questions or yell at me, feel free. I know the audio was a little bit goofy at the beginning because of I didn't realize it was so windy and it was like actually messing with the mic. But thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you all again next Wednesday. Check out Survival Moss. If you haven't heard this conversation, go back and watch this. Not only is a lovely couple, they have lovely children, they have lovely company, they do it together, which is miraculous. That a couple and also running a business, that's actually inspirational because it can be done, and they're doing it. And again, their product is far superior. I'll just say it straight out. It's far superior to any sea moss.
You said it, not me.
Thank you out there, guys. And check it out, survivalmoss.com and at survivalmoss on Instagram. Good night, everyone.
Take care.